Hello everyone, I am Jade IC Buscato Gajes, and today I will discuss and explain to you the early settlers of Negros Oriental. The Philippines is a country that is rich in history and literature. Each of its island has a unique story to tell, and Negros Oriental is no exception. In this video, we will provide a brief overview of the history of Negros Oriental from its earliest inhabitants to the various literary forms of the province. Early settlers of Negros Oriental. The earliest inhabitants were Negritos, a tribe of indigenous people who are short, dark-skinned, and have curly hair. Before the Spanish arrived and began calling them Negritos, the Negritos already had their own settlement on the island. After Panay, Negros is the largest island in the Visayas. Before Miguel Lopez de Legazpi's expedition, the island of Buglas had long been populated by Negritos, Malays, and Chinese. The natives of old called it Buglas after the reeds, which were once the predominant vegetation. When the Spaniards explorers landed in Negros Oriental in 1565, they found natives who called the place Buglas, named after a kind of tall grass resembling the present-day sugarcane. Buglas grass was then abundantly growing on the island. The Spaniards encountered many black people with black kinky hair among the inhabitants, and so they called the island Negros.
Historical background of Negros Oriental. Negros Oriental is a late black province situated in the southern portion of Negros Island, Visayas, Philippines, surrounded on the north and west by its neighboring province Negros Occidental. On January 1, 1890, Governor General Valeriano Weyler, in compliance with a royal decree dated October 25, 1889, established Negros Oriental as a separate province. Siquijor Island was attached to Negros Oriental and Dumaguete was designated as the capital. In the last quarter of 1898, Don Diego de la Peña of Vallehermoso started Negros Oriental into action. With a band of insufficiently armed farmhands, he marched towards Dumaguete to liberate the capital, also liberating the northern towns along the way. The De la Peña forces arrived in Dumaguete just as the Spanish forces abandoned it. The rival forces under the leadership of Don Diego de la Peña succeeded in driving the Spanish forces and government officials from all towns. November 25, 1898, the Provincial Revolutionary Government of Gen Emilio Aguinaldo was established in Dumaguete, the capital town, with Don Demetrio Larena as president. April 9, 1901, the Second Philippine Commission under the chairmanship of William H. Taft arrived in Dumaguete. In that year, the Negros Oriental province was reorganized by the United States and a civil government was established with Demetrio Larena as governor. The American government made Siquijor a sub-province of Negros Oriental. On the same year, August 28, 1901, Dr. David S. Hebarb founded Silliman Institute in Dumaguete. It would become the first Protestant university in the Philippines. In October 29, 1904, 7 Belgian nuns arrived to open St. Paul's Academy, which would be the first St. Paul de Chartres institution in the country. Negros Oriental became a province under the American civil government on March 10, 1917. The Bacalera established in 1918 its first sugar central in the country in Bais. The Central Azucarera de Bais, thus stimulating the growth of the province's sugar industry. Oriental Negros also cultivated grains and abaca and was a good producer of copra. The provincial capital was inaugurated on February 25, 1925. In 1924, Hon. Hermenegildo Villanueva was elected governor and the Capitol building was erected. In 1934, Negros Oriental became a corregimiento, a separate military district. Under the American colonial government, transportation infrastructure was developed with improvements of roads and new bridges. May 26, 1942, the Japanese landed in Dumaguete City. During World War II, the province was invaded by Japanese forces and many residents were forced to flee to the mountains to escape. Negros Island was taken back from the Japanese on August 6, 1945. The capital, Dumaguete, became a city on June 15, 1948 by virtue of Republic Act No. 327. On April 5, 1955, Pope Pius XII created the Diocese of Dumaguete comprising Negros Oriental Province, Siquijor Sub-Province, and the Negros Occidental towns of San Carlos, Calatrava, Toboso, and Escalante. In the 70s, when the Philippine Islands were clustered into political regions, Negros Oriental became part of Region 7 or Central Visayas, with Cebu City as its regional center. On September 17, 1971, Siquijor was separated as an independent province. Silliman and St. Paul, along with Foundation University and Negros Oriental State University, Indo, the provincial capital with four major institutions of higher learning. As a whole, the province of Negros Oriental is further subdivided into a total of 19 municipalities, 6 cities, and 557 barangays. The capital of the province, Dumaguete, is where the seat of the government is. Despite having a small land area, it is the most populous city with locals speaking Cebuano as the primary language. As evident throughout the province, the influence of the Spanish colonization continues with its number of infrastructures and livelihood. The predominant religion throughout the country, Roman Catholicism, is most evident in Dumaguete.
The island of Negros Oriental was divided into the provinces of Negros Oriental and Negros Occidental by a royal decree executed by Governor General Valeriano Weyler on January 1, 1890. Dumaguete was made the first and only capital of the new Negros Oriental province. During the year 1898, months after the arrival of Emilio Aguinaldo from exile, the Negros Revolution suddenly broke out. Negros Occidental province, which was still ruled by the Spanish authorities, eventually surrendered to the Negrense revolutionary forces after a battle on November 6. They then began a week-long march which captured Dumaguete on the 24th. By this time, the Spanish forces had left the entirety of Negros. The Negros Republic was then proclaimed on November 27. During the World War II, Imperial Japanese forces landed at Dumaguete on May 26, 1942, after the fall of the Philippines, and all of Negros Oriental province surrendered shortly thereafter. Resistance against the Japanese occupation continued by the guerrilla groups in the inner mountains, where many native residents had fled to. The local Negrense guerrillas attacked the remaining Japanese officials and troops on August 6, 1945, and after their victory, they welcomed combined American and Filipino forces that formally liberated Negros Oriental. The city of Dumaguete was formally created on July 15, 1948 under Philippine Congressional Republic Act No. 32-7, also known as the Charter of the City of Dumaguete. This was later amended on June 21, 1969 by Republic Act No. 5797, which clarified and refined the powers and functions of the local government unit in the earlier act. Journalist Crispin Maslog, who was teaching at Silliman University at the time, he notes that Dumaguete learned about Marcos' declaration of martial law earlier than other parts of the country did on September 23, 1972, because local news station DYSR was able to pick up the news from an Australian broadcast. Elsewhere in the country, media outlets such as newspapers and broadcast stations had already been shut down, but DSYR was able to make the announcement before information Secretary Francisco Tadtad did at around noon. DYSR itself would be shut down later that day. Maslog recounts that Silliman University in Dumaguete was one of the last four universities in the Philippines to be allowed to reopen for classes, with Marcos himself complaining about instances where members of the political opposition, such as Senators Jovito Salonga, Juan Liwag, were invited to speak at the university. In the mid-1980s, the chronic capitalism which characterized the martial law administration had a major effect on the island of Negros in which Dumaguete is located. A sugar hoarding scheme by National Sugar Trading Corporation or NASUTRA of Roberto Benedicto backfired, resulting in the mass firing of sugar workers in Negros Oriental and Negros Occidental. Worsened by the economic nosedive which had begun in 1983, it eventually became known as the 1985 Negros Famine.
1.4 Neighboring Towns. The neighboring towns of Dumaguete City are Bacong, Sibulan, and Valencia. Historical background of Bacong. Bacong is the smallest municipality of Negros Oriental, whose people were noted for their bravery from the time of marauding days of Moro pirates. Locals would repulse them with their unforgettable cry, Bacon, Bacon, which translates to stand up, and fight, hence the name Bacong. Founded in 1801, Bacong is best known as the hometown of the revolutionary Filipino hero Pantaleon Villegas, better known as Leon Quilat. Church of St. Augustine and Hippo and pipe organ is the famous visitor attraction of Bacong Negros Oriental. It was built in 1866. Bacong Church is located by the sea featuring by the oldest existing main altar reputed to be the province's oldest. Its pipe organ from Zaragoza, Spain was installed in 1894. Next is the historical background of Sibulan. The origin of the name Sibulan is more historical than mythical. The story goes that during the Spanish occupation of the Philippines, a group of Spaniards wandered around the area. They met several women carrying bamboo tubes, tools they used to fetch water from the springs. The Spaniards asked the woman the name of the place. None of the women understood Spanish, so the communication failed rather miserably. The woman took it to mean that the Spaniards were asking them the source of the water they were fetching, so they replied, Sibuls, meaning spring, noting the abundance of springs in the area. The Spaniard named it the land of Sibuls, or land of numerous springs. As the years went by, the influence of the time and elements of change brought the name of the place modified to its present name, Sibulan. In 1838, Sibulan became a parish under the secular order. Then, in 1856, the parish was taken over by a regular church priest. In 1910, Sibulan had its first set of municipal government officials when it became a municipality. Its creation was in accordance with Act No. 82 dated January 31, 1910 of the Philippine Commission relative to the creation of municipal government in the country. Next is the historical background of Valencia. Valencia was originally named Ermeta, which means a secluded place due to its being a refuge from a marauding Muslim pirates. In 1856, it was renamed Nueva Valencia by Spanish colonizers in honor of its parish priest, Father Matias Villamayor from Valencia, Spain. He also had a fountain brought over from his aforementioned hometown, which currently sits in front of the town hall. In 1920, it was renamed Luzuriaga, oftentimes misspelled as Luzuriaga, in honor of Don Carlos Ruiz de Luzuriaga, a delegate from Negros Island to the Philippine legislature who promised towns officials he would work hard to help improve the town. The town reverted to Valencia in 1948 by the virtue of Republic Act 252. During World War II, Malabo was the headquarters of the free government and resistance movement in Negros Oriental.
Buglasan Festival, also known as Negros Oriental Festival, is an annual celebration held in Dumaguete City, Negros Oriental, Philippines. The festival showcases the vibrant culture, rich heritage, and bountiful resources of the province. Here is the historical background of the Buglasan Festival. The Buglasan Festival traces its roots back to the 1980s when the province of Negros Oriental sought to promote its tourism industry and highlight its natural beauty and cultural heritage. The festival was initially called the Negros Oriental Arts and Heritage Festival and was first organized in 1982. The festival was renamed Buglasan in 1995. The term Buglasan is derived from the ancient name of the island of Negros, which was originally called Buglas by the natives. The renaming aimed to emphasize the festival's connection to the history and identity of Negros Oriental. Buglasan Festival has since evolved into a major cultural event in the region, attracting both locals and tourists from different parts of the Philippines and abroad. The festival is usually held during the third or fourth week of October and lasts week for about a week. Throughout the festival, various activities and events are organized to showcase the province's cultural heritage, including street dancing competitions, beauty pageants, cultural fairs, trade exhibits, musical performances, sports competitions, and culinary showcases. The festival highlights the diverse traditions, music, dances, arts and crafts, and culinary specialties of Negros Oriental. Buglasan Festival serves as a platform to promote and preserve the traditional arts and crafts of the province. It also aims to boost tourism and local economy by attracting visitors to explore the natural attractions, historical sites, and cultural landmarks of Negros Oriental.
Early forms of literature from the province. We have here the pre-colonial literature. These are Catalina of Dumaguete, The Legend of Mount Canlaon, The Story of Sikalak and Sibakay, Dandansoy, and Ili Ili. The Legend of Catalina of Dumaguete, a folk tale from the early days of Dumaguete, which tells the story of a strange girl with a faraway look in her eyes named Catalina, who was greatly loved by her people. At the age of 16, Catalina was a very pretty and hardworking girl. She always wore a long white dress, which she kept spotlessly clean and in good repair. Everyone agreed she was very good of character with a lovely nature. The Legend of Mount Canlaon. Mount Canlaon is surrounded by a variety of myths. A story states that its vicinity was home to a nation ruled by Datu, king or leader named Laon. The volcano was said to be a former home to a dragon-like monster, which was slain by the youthful epic hero Kan, who was an intimate friend and a lover of Laon. The story of Sikalak and Sibakay. Once there were two gods, Captain and Manguayan. One day, Captain planted a bamboo in a garden. It grew and split into two sections and stepped out a man who was named Sikalak and a woman named Sibakay. Sikalak asked Sibakay's hand for marriage because there were no other people on earth. Dandansoy, a love ballad with a lovely lyric melody and a slowly flowing piano accompaniment. This traditional Visayan folk song comes from a series of islands in the central region of the Philippines. In its song, it depicts the story of a woman who goes home to Payao and tells her sweetheart to follow her in case he misses her. Lastly, we have Ili Ili. Ili Ili Tulog-Anay is a traditional lullaby from Iloilo in the Visayan region of the Philippine Islands. The text is originally in Olongo, formerly known as Ligayon, which is a commonly spoken dialect in Iloilo.
Welcome to Foundation University. Foundation University is also referred to by its acronym FU or simply Foundation, is a private non-sectarian basic and higher education institution in Dumaguete, Philippines. It was founded by Dr. Vicente Guzman Cinco, former president of the University of the Philippines and an alumnus of Silliman University. Foundation University is a private university located in Dumaguete City, Philippines, established in 1949. It offers undergraduate and graduate programs across a wide range of academic disciplines, including business, education, engineering, arts, sciences, hospitality management, and information technology. The university has a various schools, including the School of Education, Arts, Sciences, and Nursing, the School of Business Administration, and the School of Engineering and Architectures. It also offers a College of Medicine and a College of Law. Foundation University is known for its academic excellence and has produced several outstanding graduates in various industries, including business, medicine, law, education, and engineering. Along with its academic focus, the university places an emphasis on community service and offers various outreach programs to help the local community. The campus offers modern facilities, including a library, laboratories, sports, facilities, and a student center. Overall, Foundation University is committed to providing quality education, nursing potential leaders, and promoting community service that contributes to the betterment of society.
The contribution of St. Paul University to the literature in the province. St. Paul University of Dumaguete is a private Roman Catholic research non-profit co-educational basic and higher education institution. It is run by the Sisters of St. Paul of Chartres in Dumaguete. It was founded by the Paulinian Sisters on October 1904. St. Paul University was the only school in the Visayas area opened the school for a few children with the CPC nuns teaching French and French literature at the time. Serafin Perez was the school principal and an English teacher during the war in public school system in Dumaguete. Adult classes in Nipongo, Japanese language, were opened in Bais in Tanhay. During the American regime, the language used in teaching the students of St. Paul University of Dumaguete in those days is English language, since those are the days that the American regime has just started in the Philippines. So the students of St. Paul University of Dumaguete are not that familiar with the language. That is why the seven sisters are obliged to learn the local Visayan dialect and Spanish language that understanding and comprehension will be attained. Characteristics of literatures. Bobby Flores Villasis. He is an author, poet, and playwright. He won the Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature winners in the year 1987, ranked title of First Prize Fiesta. He also won the Philippine Free Press First Prize and Art and Culture Icon. Here are some of his literary works: Suit Bergamaschi, The Boulevard Stories, and Menandros Boulevard, which he won the Philippine Free Press First Prize. Another one is Edilberto K. Timpo. He is a Filipino writer and professor. He established a tradition in excellence in creative writing and the teaching of literacy craft, which continues to this day, and fine arts, drama, and graduate school in St. Paul University.
Silliman University is a prestigious educational institution located in Dumaguete City, Negros Oriental, Philippines. It is the first American university in the Philippines and the first Protestant school in the country. Established in 1901, Silliman University has played a significant role in the Philippine education and has become a symbol of academic excellence and cultural heritage. Here is a historical background of Silliman University. Founding and early years. Silliman University was founded by the Board of Foreign Missions of the Presbyterian Church in the United States. The university was named after Dr. Horace Brentsmaid Silliman, a philanthropist and businessman from Cohas, New York, who donated the initial funds for its establishment. Opening and expansion. Silliman University officially opened its doors on August 28, 1901. With 15 students and 4 faculty members, it began a small school offering primary and secondary education. Over time, the university expanded its academic offerings and facilities, gradually transforming into a full-fledged university. Influence of American missionaries. American Presbyterian missionaries played a crucial role in shaping Silliman University's early development. They introduced American-style education, emphasizing English proficiency, scientific inquiry, and critical thinking. This influence contributed to the university's reputation for academic excellence. World War II and Japanese occupation. During World War II, Silliman University, like many educational institutions, faced significant challenges. The Japanese Imperial Army occupied the campus and classes were suspended. The university's facilities were used for military purposes, and many faculty members and students were forced into internment camps. Post-war recovery and growth. After the war, Silliman University embarked on a period of recovery and expansion. With the help of international organizations and alumni support, the university rebuilt its infrastructure, re-established its academic programs, and attracted talented faculty members and students. Cultural and academic contributions. Silliman University has made significant contributions to the cultural and intellectual landscape of the Philippines. It has produced notable alumni in various fields, including literature, politics, science, and the arts. The university has also been a hub for research, hosting conferences, seminars, and cultural events that promote Filipino heritage and scholarship.
Number 4. Silliman Writers Workshop. The Silliman University National Writers Workshop, or SUNWW, is an annual creative writing workshop that was established in 1962 by the late Edelberto K. Chempo, a national artist for literature, Edith L. Chempo of Silliman University. The SUNWW is the longest-running creative writing workshop in Asia. It is commonly regarded as the most prestigious one of the entire region, having been able to produce many of the most influential and renowned names in the Philippine literature. Practically all Filipino writers of any importance have joined the Silliman Writers Workshop at one time or another, either as fellows, lecturers, or panelists. Being a pioneer, the Silliman Writers Workshop occupies a premier position in the history of creative writing in the Philippines. With the workshop's integrity and tradition over the years, it has become the rite of passage for the country's finest writers. 4.1 History/Founders. Founders of SUNWW. It was founded by Edelberto K. Chempo and national artist for literature Edith L. Chempo of Silliman University and was established in 1962. History of SUNWW. The Silliman University National Writers Workshop in the Dumaguete is the oldest creative writing program in Asia. In 2009, Dr. Edith Chempo was named Director Emeritus of the National Writers Workshop. Apart from Silliman University, over the years, the workshop has received support from the Ford Foundation, the National Commission for Culture and Arts, or NCCA, the CAP family of companies, the Creative Writing Foundation, the Dumaguete City Literary Arts or DULA Group, and various cultural institutes based in the United States and Europe. Last 2010 marked a milestone in the development of Philippine literature and the writing craft as the Silliman University National Writers Workshop, headed by its first director residence, Dr. Rowena Tiempo Torrevelas, and the visionary Dr. Ben S. Malayang III, University President, first invited a writer beyond the Philippines to sit in as a guest panelist for a week to enrich the workshop by infusing Asian consciousness. The first international guest writer was Hong Kong's Su Si for 2011. It was Singapore's Kirpal Saints. For 2012, it was Nathan Au Ming Kun from the Singapore Management University. Also, in 2010, Silliman University welcomed the panelists, writing fellows, workshop alumni, and guests to the Writers' Village at Camp Lookout, Valencia. Due to decreases in budgetary allocations, the Silliman National Writers' Workshop for some time disassociated itself from Silliman University and started to get its funding from the National Commission of Culture and Arts, or NCCA. Its name was changed to the Dumaguete National Writers' Workshop in 2008. However, the organization of the workshop returned to Silliman University's English department with additional support from the NCCA as well as local business from Dumaguete and other literature and art enthusiasts. Eventually, the workshop was rechristened with the name Silliman University National Writers Workshop. In 2012, the SUNWW was given the tanging parangal in the Gawad CCP para sa sining by the Cultural Center of the Philippines, the highest distinction given by CCP in recognition of an individual or an organization contributions to Philippine arts and culture.
There are many notable writers from Negros Oriental who have taught or participated in the Writers' Workshop in the province. Here are some of them. 1. Edelberto K. Tiempo. He was born in Shaton, Negros Oriental, a renowned Filipino writer, critic, and teacher. Co-founded the Silliman University National Writers Workshop, the first director of the creative writing program at the University of the Philippines. Number 2. Edith L. Tiempo. She was born in Bayawan, Negros Oriental, a poet, fiction writer, and literary critic. Co-founded the Silliman University National Writers Workshop. Number 3. Cesar Ruiz Aquino. Aquino was a playwright and a screenwriter. Was born in Dumaguete City, Negros Oriental. He was a fellow at the Silliman University National Writers Workshop in 1971. Number 4. Rowena Tiempo Villas, a poet, fiction writer, and literary critic, was born in Dumaguete City, Negros Oriental. She has served as a panelist and director of the Silliman University National Writers Workshop. Number 5. Susan S. Lara. Lara is a novelist, poet, and essayist. Was born in Dumaguete City, Negros Oriental. She has taught at the Silliman University National Writers Workshop. Has won several awards for her writing. Number 6. Hope Sabanpan Yu is a poet, essayist, and literary critic. Was born in Dumaguete City, Negros Oriental. She has taught at St. Paul University. Has won several awards for her writing, including the Palanca Award. These are just a few examples of the many writers who have contributed to the literary culture of the Negros Oriental.
Edith Cuturan Lopez Tiempo was a Filipino poet, fiction writer, teacher, and literary critic in the English language. She was conferred the National Artist Award in 1999. Edith Tiempo was a writer of the poem entitled Bonsai. The poem she wrote is all about how love is simplified and reduced so that one can give it out to others. The poem talks about how one could have that ability to seize such a huge thought and compact them down to something small to be able to hand them over to one person to another. This poem is all about the love of the mother, and this love is now being passed or being handed to her daughter. As you can see in that picture, that is the example of the bonsai tree. So, Edith Tiampo used that bonsai tree because bonsai tree symbolizes love, fertility, and health. Bonsai is the Japanese art of growing miniature trees in pots. The poet used it in her poem as a metaphor for the human capacity of keeping and nurturing memories through tiny keepsakes. Bonsai is the art of shrinking trees, collecting keepsakes in the art of shrinking love, life, and memories.
The first stanza sets the scene with a gentle and nostalgic atmosphere. It mentions the presence of mountain spirits and lamplight, evoking a sense of connection to nature and ancestral memories. The protagonist recalls a childhood memory of watching his father clearing wild grass and feeling a kinship with the act of sowing and working the land. This stanza describes the protagonist's observation of the mountains, emphasizing the winding slopes and the river flowing down from a bubbling spring. The fields are portrayed as rich and abundant with fruits, ferns, and flowers. However, there's a hint of impending trouble as the sun's harsh rays and dry winds threaten the fertility and beauty of the landscape. The third stanza depicts a scene of introspection and contemplation during midnight. The protagonist reflects on the mysteries of nature, symbolized by the curious call of dark birds, the plap of frogs, the cries of cicadas, and the sounds of cicadas during the harvest time. These elements evoke a sense of connection to the cycles of life and the passage of time. At dawn, the fog clears, and the protagonist witnesses the rise of steel structures that intrude upon the landscape. These structures dig deep into the mountains, extracting their power and resources. The line suggests a clash between human progress, symbolized by the powerful spires, and the natural beauty and the resources of the mountains. The final stanza contemplates the consequences of the human intrusion on the mountains. It implies that, as time passes, people will forget the mountains and their significance. But there is a glimmer of hope that in old age, vision of Cairns de Negros will return to them in their dreams. This suggests the potential for a recognition with nature and revival of the memories and the beauty that were lost.
The Bell Counts in Our Blood by Merle Alunan. Merle Alunan spent time in different places in the Visayas and Mindanao at different times in her life, and thus acquired a level of fluency in the major Visayan languages. She finished her bachelor's degree in education at the University of the Visayas, major in English, and her master's degree in literature at Suleiman University. Merle Alunan wrote a poem that represents the martial law period, titled The Bell Counts in Our Blood. The Bell Counts in Our Blood remains one of the best poems written about martial law. It was published first in 1988 in the pages of the Suleimanian magazine. It tells us about those horrors of those dark days and the disappearance of one activist priest. Back in year 1985, Dumaguete City lost Father Romano. Father Romano is an activist priest who's against in Marcos dictatorship. and for 32 years no justice was served for the priest. As a way of choosing not to forget the priest during the Marcos administration, the community would ring the bells for him every 8 in the evening until he is found. This poem speaks about how the disappearance of one body marks a malady in society, affecting all of us. It is a poem that also takes the Filipino to task about forgetting, admonishing us that even if remembering is painful.
Brave Woman by Grace Monte de Ramos. Grace Monte de Ramos was born in 1956, poet and translator, graduated from Suleiman University with a degree in creative writing, taught literature at Suleiman University, worked at Cultural Center of the Philippines (CCP). Currently a full-time mother, she is married to poet Juanillo Y. Arcelana, son of National Artist for Literature Franz Arcelana. She is a poet whose works have been published in the literary journals Caracao, Ani, Sans and Coral, Likhaan, and Philippine Studies. Translated ang Bukid nga Nahigugma sa Langgam, the Bisaya Cebuano version of Alice MacLaren's The Mountain That Loved a Bird. Poems also appeared in textbooks and anthologies of the Philippine literature and feminist poetry. In 2003, Brave Woman was chosen for inclusion in the book Poets Against the War, a collection of the best anti-war poems from among 13,000 submissions by writers opposed to war with Iraq. Poem Analysis. Grace Monte de Ramos on Brave Woman talks about a mother's feelings of losing a son at a young age, all because of being a soldier. From this, we could say that being a mother is never easy. It is a lifetime responsibility, yet giving birth, feeding, and clothing the child doesn't end up the responsibility of being a mother. Although the destiny of a person cannot be controlled by anyone, mothers will always be there to support her child even in the hardest battle. Any mother can do anything just to sustain the needs of her child, but the mother in this poem cannot do anything, though she never stopped loving them until the very end. It takes her a lot of courage to face the reality that her youngest son is also now gone because of the war. I can see a mother who is suppressing her emotions, not wanting to cry of losing a son, though the pain in her heart is obvious by the use of words in the poem and the repetition of her having two sons. The grief in the lines, sunken cheeks and silent description of hers makes me feel and determine her bitterness and her painful suffering. She is in a way confused on what she feels for losing her sons who kill and are killed. Just like the mothers of other soldiers, they are left hanging and have no clue what are appearance of those who have killed their sons. This mother is brave because she has, and this kind of mother is worth to be saluted by everyone. Yet all the mothers in this world that are continuous doing everything for their family deserves to be looked up by everybody else. The poem Brave Woman makes us realize that we should always be grateful to our mothers. Like the brave soldiers who have laid down their lives in defense of our freedoms, their mothers have earned our deepest honor and sympathy, having sacrificed so much for the country, yet continuing to give of themselves to ensure that the ideas of freedom and democracy live on for future generations.